okay. So
give me 1 minute.
I believe we're live.
We are live.
I'm going to pull it up here just to confirm because I'm still a newbie with Twitch.
Okay.
My channel.
Hi everyone, I'm Michael.
Hi, and I'm Jamie.
And we like to talk about the tarot. Thanks for joining us. And today we're going to talk about the High Priestess, number 2 in the tarot.
Yeah, so Michael's putting together a deck, and we had started having these conversations with our significant others in front of us. And as interested as they really may be with the tarot, it's like after a while they really were just like, okay, are you guys going to stop talking about it?
And we're not, but we're just going to stop talking to them about it.
Right. So we agreed that we were going to instead, Michael was going to hold off. You know, as he's making his deck, we were going through questions. We were asking all this stuff. And then, so we decided we're just going to hold off. We're not going to talk about it until we get together.
That's right.
So we haven't talked about it for a week, and it's like, oh my gosh.
No, I'm ready to talk tarot.
Yeah, really. So, well, I tell you, so the High Priestess.
Yes.
What is your impression? What is the High Priestess for you?
So the High Priestess, for me, she is like the other... I would say there's 2 most important cards in the deck. The Magician and the High Priestess. The Magician is that active, I'm gonna go out and get things done energy. He's the consciousness, the will. And the High Priestess is the subconscious. So she's the yin to his yang. She's the accepting and then the receiving and that kind of thing. So it's when you have those they even think of it, one way to think about it would be the Magician would be the self-consciousness, being aware of yourself, and the High Priestess is the subconscious.
Okay.
The underneath, you know?
Yep.
So that's really my first impression, or how I see her. But
right.
Of course, there's all the symbology and stuff. So, do you want me to go into that, or you want to?
Well,
how do you see her?
I see her. So, of course, the first deck we all get is the Rider-Waite.
Sure.
You know, to start out with, yeah, and he's got that, and I'll just pull this up here.
There we go.
So, you know, so here we are with our High Priestess, and so when we get this, we learn about the B and the J, the Bohm and Jab, or however you want to pronounce it, the black and the white, and all this.
The Boaz and Yod King.
Yeah. And that's because Waite had taken it, and the Golden Dawn had taken it, and of course they added the Kabbalah and their magic to it and things like that.
Yep.
But for me, I started going back to keeping it simple. So when I started going into the Marseille style, you know, what I see here, it's like, yes, all that, you know, I thoroughly understand all the magical influences and stuff like that. But what I see here is I see a woman who is heavily clothed. She has an open book on her lap, and she is in front of a veil that's hiding something. So I see the wisdom that comes from being in, you know, inside that book, the knowledge that is hidden in that book, and the veil behind her. So I see she's intuitive, she is intelligent, she knows things that others don't.
Absolutely.
And so I get that just by looking at this card and seeing that.
Sure.
So I keep stuff kind of simple. It's like, what is written in her book? What knowledge is in there? What does her intuition say? What is, you know, she is the papist, so she has a higher self. And what energy and what knowledge does this papist, this higher self, bring to the question?
Right. But you know, those important qualities that carry through to the older decks are, like Jamie says, are all there. But you notice that both the older decks and the newer decks, she's got this veil that separates the seen from the unseen. She's got the two pillars that the veil hangs from. Like you said, that the dark pillar meaning force, the lighter pillar meaning the fulcrum, the negation versus the affirmation. So you think of the Boaz, the darker pillar, as the saying no means no. It's and the lighter pillar is I am, I will, I accept. That
Sure.
So it's these dualities that are such a big theme. And with the number 2, that's a big part of it, is that there's the reconciliation of opposites. It's that partnership between the two things that make, that's what the numerology is all about for the number 2. And she's the second card in the major arcana.
Sure. Well, but for me, since I'm always wondering, before de Gebelin and all those people came along and started assigning numbers, started applying all the magical stuff and things like that.
Sure.
My question is that how would the original people who saw this card would have interpreted it? Because a lot of mythology was created over time. This has got a heavily Egyptian influence to it. So you can see, the crown of Isis, and you see the pomegranates and everything else. So this is the original Pope, the original Papist card right here. And there's speculation as to what this was. And so so this is a 15th century card, okay? And this is the original one. So before the tarot, which originated around the 15th century.
Mid-15th, yep.
There's speculation that this could either be one of the Visconti family's historical ancestors, who was considered a saint, almost a saint. She actually got in trouble with the church because people started really following her and everything else. So some people are saying that this might be that person. So the Visconti family, when they had the original deck, this deck created back then, they think this might be a historical person. Other people say that it might be Pope Joan, which is a very
controversial figure. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's a very well-known story.
Yeah.
And that's the one I think people would see. And so by the time, so this was an expensive deck. These were hand painted. As you can see with this one right here, this is a very inexpensive made. So this is the Noble.
Yep.
So 16th century card, the Noble, which is one of the first woodblock cut. So if somebody was looking at this, I think that they would see this as Pope Joan, who was she was a very devout person. She dressed herself as a man. She was with the clergy. She joined the clergy. They ended up making her the Pope. And
so as the story goes.
So the story goes. But she got pregnant. And while she was performing her duties, a baby dropped out. And so she was burned at the stake. So this is could be, it's just a legend. It's not considered to be true history. But somebody in the 16th century reading this would probably see that.
But that's all that the tarot is weaving all these histories and stories and ideas and tapping into that, what the people see in pictures, right?
Right. And so when they're reading back then, what happened to that? Oh, you got, okay.
Right here.
Okay. So yeah, they would have taken that into consideration. But again, I think that before they added a lot of the magical stuff and things like that, they would have just seen it as the papists.
Sure.
Who and they would describe her as a seer, because they wouldn't have. I mean, they were probably illiterate when they first started reading. But they would know their myths, and they would know their stories, and they would know their context and their culture.
Exactly.
So.
But going forward.
Yep, going forward.
So once we do get to the later decks, like the Rider-Waite, a whole bunch more symbology comes crashing in. And so let me go through some of this just to...
Absolutely.
All right. So like I said before, the veil is separating the seen and the unseen. So there's that duality. And she's got this scroll that's hidden, partially hidden. So again, she's a gatekeeper and of the secret knowledge. Are you worthy to see what's written on the scroll? Are you worthy to see what's behind the veil? And if we are, then what is behind the veil? And if you can see very, very subtly, there's this sea, the sea of subconscious, water. And that is tapping into your gut, to your inner psychic abilities, to your instincts, intuitions. That's all the subtle aspects right there behind there. So she's gatekeeper and guarding the knowledge that is there, but it's if you're worthy or not. And then so she's got this. Let's see. The other things are the pomegranates, of course, and the dates. So she's got the date palms hark back to an Egyptian queen called Hathor, and she would feed the deceased with the milk from these palms. So it's the food of the dead, and much as pomegranates are the food of the dead. So it's from the myth of Persephone in the underworld and her mother Demeter. Mm-hmm. So Demeter was the goddess of earth, wife of Zeus, and Hades from the underworld comes in and he steals away Persephone because he thinks she's hot stuff. so he takes her down to the underworld, and the mother Demeter, she's all super sad that she can't find her daughter, and she's the goddess of the earth. So the earth starts to die. You get the winter, all the crops fail, and nothing can grow, and get all cold because she's sad that her daughter's she can't find her daughter. Zeus finds out. He goes down to Hades and says, okay, time to give back our daughter here. And he's just like, okay, but before you go, have a bite of this. Gives her the food of the dead, which is the pomegranate. Also seen, there's the dates from the palms, and there's the pomegranate. So it's all the same kind of message here. Food of the dead. So once she's eaten of the food of the dead, she has to spend half the year in the underworld. In
Hades.
Exactly. And so that's how we get the seasons. It's half the time she's in the underworld with Hermes, and we go into the winter months, and then she comes back in the spring and summer. So the idea, the whole concept here is the Lucian mysteries, the freedom from fear of death, because we know that afterwards it's the spring, and the summer comes back, or on a higher level, death is not the end. There's another incarnation, or whatever you choose to believe, but it's not the end. So that's another one of these secrets that the High Priestess kind of holds, but only it's these inner truths that are accessible, but only on a very subtle, dreamlike, level that these truths are revealed.
So, and it's interesting because I just got done reading. So this is a great book. I think it's 52 weeks or 32 weeks book on reading the Marseille Tarot. And
show all your
thing, yeah.
She'll might feed all your tabs in there, heavily
So-
bookmarked and annotated.
And so here, I'll do it like this. Here we go. Come here. And it's got an entire chapter in here about reading the tarot through your culture. And when reading the tarot for others,
Right.
understanding their culture.
Whether it's
So
Greek or Egyptian or what
right.
have you, yeah.
So what Mike is explaining there is exactly, it's seeing the tarot through the Western culture that Waite saw it and other people saw it, and finding the mysteries in that. So.
Oh, but I got if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
I've got a few more pearls of wisdom here.
Go for it.
So the going back to the pillars, these are reminiscent of King Solomon's temple.
Solomon's temple, yeah.
Right? And they're saying that the strength is when they're separated. So if you force these two pillars together, the roof of the temple would come down. But apart, it's strong and it holds the temple up. So it's that the message being that that the equilibrium is so important to finding that balance. And in my deck, which if you see the tops of these pillars are cut off, but when I'm designing my own deck and in my card, we're gonna pan out so you get to see what's on the top of these pillars. And I've got one that has fire and one that has water, so that again you've got those two forces that when you bring them together they would destroy each other. But when you have them separated, the fire and the water together create this mist. And who's in the middle of the mist? Of the subconscious mist, it's the High Priestess. So she's again tapping into that subconscious, that water of the undercurrent of all things. And if you see through the mist, she'll grant you the wisdom, the knowledge that you might be seeking. But she's if she deems you worthy.
Right.
And then she's standing on the moon, which is again linked to the whole subtle energies of the the nighttime energies and that kind of thing. And the dress is flowing like the water. So you've got, they say that all water in the tarot and every card originates with the High Priestess. It all originates with her. And so I love all these just different symbols and things. You've got the crown of Isis, or that also could be considered the crown of Queen Hathor. It depending on your tradition, your stories,
Right.
But the message is consistent. The message is this theme that carries over no matter what tradition. That's what is so wonderful to me, is when you see all these different stories and they all have different histories and different interpretations, but the meanings of them all are all the same. And then let's see there was one other thing that I wanted to the solar cross, right? So she's got the solar cross with equal arms, right? And and it's not like your typical cross, it's a solar cross. So you've got the material plane and you've got the spiritual plane, and they meet at that center right at her gut. Right, again, that crossroads is the that inner the inner aptitude of knowing those hidden messages which are in us all.
Right.
Where that's the subconscious, which is really what the tarot is all about. It's tapping into that energy.
Well, okay, so now we originally started out with the tarot and fortune telling, okay? And then you're talking about the Rider-Waite.
Yep.
So what do you think is the importance then? Because what was it that what was he trying to do with the majors?
So Waite was trying to reveal these. Well, not reveal them because he was still sworn to know.
He was,
but he
was a big time Christian,
right.
So
that's true, and
he was trying. He really was, and
yeah,
so,
he was trying to take those Golden Dawn occult teachings and link them.
Well,
in a
that's
way
the
that he
whole
could,
Rosicrucian thing and the whole thing with the Masons and
where
stuff.
he could join the
and so
that's why you got a very Mary
keep in
like.
mind also is that yes, it's got a lot of Egyptian symbology in there and a lot of mythology, and also we've got the Kabbalah in there.
Sure.
Yeah, so it was important to him also because he was using these cards to try and make a correspondence between, to understand the big picture with everything. And so she was like the mystical connection.
Yeah. It's just like and speaking to that Christianity bent that Waite had, I mean, she looks like a Virgin Mary there.
Right.
Just like the magician is very Christ-like with his white and red robes. That was definitely something that was important to Waite, and so that you're going to see those correspondences. But it's that whole idea again of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is thought of as feminine. So the High Priestess would be the Holy Spirit, the Son would be the magician, and the Father, or the higher, the unformed form, that would really be the Fool, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this back down again. Here we go. So I had brought these out so we can see kind of like the historical steps that it went through to go towards the occult. So, of course, here we have the original High Priestess, which notice that they didn't have them labeled.
Yeah.
Okay, so was this Pope Joan? Was this the ancestor? It wasn't until they started labeling these for the game of tarot, because when this game was created, when this deck was created, they already knew the order, because they knew what each picture was, what each one meant. The Emperor and all the other ones, as you go up the whole chain, they knew what each one of those meant. Then when it becomes to the masses, then they start adding the numbers to it, and so. There's still consideration here is like, is this a big giant dress that she's wearing? Or is this the confusion of the chair? And see how this has actually got, she's sitting down and she has the tapestry behind her. So this right here shows she's probably sitting in a chair, and that her dress is folding through. And where did you got that one. And so when
the earlier
that one's the earlier one, then Converse comes along, and I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it in the front.
There you go.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna zoom it in, because Then Converse comes along, and it was just like a decade afterwards. And he has her sitting more in a chair like this, and this is where it starts getting more traditional like we have. And then in the 18th century, 19th century, in the 1800s, it starts developing like this in Italy. But notice that there is no occult connotations yet, because it was still considered a game. It was still being played as such in certain areas of Europe. Here, you may do
Thanks.
that.
Thank you. Just to show you guys.
And then when we come into the 20th century, the early 20th century, then we start coming up with the Golden Dawn, and each member of the Golden Dawn was encouraged to come up with their own versions. So, of course, we're all familiar with Pamela Coleman Smith's, but we also have the Worth deck, and his
that was more the French tradition, though.
And he was absolutely more of the French tradition, but he was of the Golden Dawn also. And so this is his version, and he's got his own symbolism in there. You can see he's got the yin and yang in there. He's got the yin and yang.
Yep.
She's still holding, she's got the keys now that you see with the other Golden Dawn decks.
Yeah, that's reminiscent of the Pope, because she's the Popess.
So he's still including, things like that. But notice here that he's got the crosses are actually on her sash as they go across. See that?
Yeah, but it's again that whether it's a more Christian-like cross, but even this one is a solar cross, because it's a equal, the vertical and the horizontal are equal, and this is the same thing. It's just more like an X, but it's that same symbology is shining through.
Yep. So so he's got the Golden Dawn symbols going through here on his. Then we also had somebody here, and I would mutilate his name if I tried to say it. But this was a popular Eastern European tarot. And he was in contact with people, other mages, cultists, and he has his traditional. There we go.
Quick little look there.
La Senecouve. And this is a Czech deck, again, from the early 20th century. And again, so he's got the Papist, which the same way as the Worth, which I thought was interesting. She's got the book closed, and so does his. Mm-hmm. So the book is closed, holding it at a particular area. He's got the same keys as this one, which you don't see in the other versions of the Golden Dawn.
Right. Yeah. Keys being the gold and silver key is what the Pope usually held. The heaven and hell keys to each domain. So in these earlier decks, when they're linking the Papess to the Pope, you're going to have those symbols carry over. But again, I see the High Priestess as more of linked to the magician rather than the Hierophant or the Pope, because of the active, and then and that's how eventually it became, because if she was linked to the Hierophant, the Pope should be further along in the deck, but she's right there at number 2, right next to the magician.
Well, I see her as linked to the Pope for the simple fact that they sit back to back from each other. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's looking in the midst of, she has the knowledge. And how do you get knowledge? You get knowledge through time, experience, things like that. And the Pope, if I remember correctly, in the Rider-Waite, is staring straight forward.
Yep.
But on the Marseille deck, he's actually turned away from, to the other side.
He's tilted. So they can look at each other.
So he's looking at the future. She is using the knowledge of the past. He's more interested in the infrastructure coming. He's more interested in, the masculine side looking to the right.
There he is. And the Rider-Waite he's looking forward.
Now that's the Rider-Waite.
But you see the keys. So he's
got the keys, which they took away from the Papists.
Right.
Is that what's going on there?
Well, I think it's just they were linking her to the Pope. She was like the female Pope. Yeah. And so they were trying to give her symbols that were like the Pope. So in those early decks, she's got the 3-tiered
the 3-tier crown,
just like the Pope has. So she was kind of like a female Pope until she became, as the tarot developed, she became more of the High Priestess and less the female Pope. But in the earlier decks, you're going to see the keys, the Triple Crown,
Well,
things that are more.
but here's the
Pope-like.
interesting thing, though, is that in the original Marseille, it's almost like mirror images.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah.
I mean, that is a mirror image.
right.
And yeah, you can show that.
So they're
So that's why, again, I look to the original
sure.
because I want to understand how it was originally done, and
That's just different.
Yep.
Different tastes for different folks.
Absolutely. So that's why when you have them and you go in order like this, and you have the 2 and the 5,
Yep.
which is a logical order going there, you can see the You can see the when they're staring at each other, they're not looking past their own selves. So it's important on where the cards are looking. And with the Marseille, there's only 2 cards where they're actually staring right at you. So that's another reason why I like to go with some other decks sometimes. I do the Rider-Waite a lot.
Sure.
So
So
when I see these 2 cards here,
Yeah.
and I see them staring at each other if they're laid out together, that's just an isolated. They're not interested in anything else other than themselves, and that's how religion can be. That's how we can get in our religion. When in reality, they should be taking care of their flock like this.
that's an interesting way of looking at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but going back to the later, more esoteric styles, I'm going to push us further into the future, and Crowley's deck has even wilder imagery here. One of the things that you can see here is a camel, and the camel is linked to the Hebrew letter Gimel, which so the one of the things that the older spiritual people did, or the Golden Dawn and Crowley and the English school magicians that came later, they were linking it to the Kabbalah, and they said, well, there's so many letters in the Jewish alphabet, and there's so many letters there's so many cards in the tarot. It happened to be the same amount. So they're like, well, let's go through it and assign each one to each thing. So the camel is Gimel, which was for the High Priestess, and that is interesting because the moon is considered the ship of the sky, right? And the camel is considered the ship of the desert. Exactly. So you've got this before the camel came along, they were using donkeys, and you couldn't get across the desert. So when when they discovered that they could use a camel, it opened up their ability to have commerce and trade, and that because they could cross this desert. It was like it's like the could be compared to us getting a spaceship that had light speed. Like all of a sudden we can travel across the galaxy and like Star Trek. But back it was the same kind of deal. So she's got that. She's opening up you to this knowledge now because she's either, whether it be the moon or whether it be the camel, it doesn't matter what symbols you use, it's still that same theme of being the vessel to impart this knowledge to the worthy through subtle means, which is what I find exciting. I love those additional meanings that were added on and continue to be added on throughout history.
Right. Well, and I was trying to find my gosh darn deck.
the old Juno.
And I can't find it.
Yeah.
Because it's somewhere. But my old deck, and I need to find it. I've got another deck, and is it the Grimmer? I forgot what the name of it is or who made it. But there was a period where they did not, or were not allowed in Italy to have the Pope or the Papist, and so they used Juno.
Is that the reason? I thought it was more of like they were trying to de-Christianize it.
Well, they were de-Christianizing it. There was also a thing about having that, and also, yes, I mean to de-Christianize it.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
big thing. So they would have Juno and
to get the Pope and Papist out of there.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
To get them out of there. And there was another period where there's actually another deck where the first 4 cards were all actually removed, or they had the same thing on it. I'm trying to remember what the emblem was.
The Minchiati deck. So in the Minchiati deck they had the instead of the magician and the
Magician, Papist,
and the High
Emperor,
Priestess,
and
they just had 4 of the emperors,
Yeah.
basically for the 4 different things, and then the rest of the tarot. Well, as we know it, plus they with the Minchiati they added a whole bunch of other cards like the zodiac cards and other things, which is again another thing that I'm doing with my deck is I'm making a 100 card deck, so it's going to have the cards that the Minchiati had. It's going to have cards that were lost to the ages. Some of the cards that were in that first ever deck from the Visconti, which was the first hand painted deck that we still have in existence. There was some of these virtues that are no longer in modern tarots, but were in that original version, and I'm putting those in. So I'm putting all of the lost cards in. It's going to be a fun 100 card deck. But the High Priestess is really the links it all that those mysteries together, because that's her whole thing is she's letting you peek behind the veil if you're worthy, and who lifts the veil? No man can lift the veil. It's
Oh my God.
It's Isis. It's only Isis lifts the veil.
the power of Isis.
Exactly. She lifts her own veil, and so to tap you into that sea of subconscious. Oh, and
Yes.
I know you'll get a kick out of this.
I'll get a kick out of this.
Yeah, because we're both David Lynch fans.
Oh yeah.
So I heard David Lynch describe his process for how he comes up with the ideas as fishing in the sea of subconscious. So he
Okay, I can see that.
goes to the school of the High Priestess. He didn't say this, but it follows in the symbology. He peeks behind the veil and fishes in her sea.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now we're going off into a whole different.
Well, that's part of the tapping into those subconscious messages. That's what she's all about. when
Oh my God.
you divine, this is what it's all about.
Is it?
It is. It truly is.
Is it really? So yeah, you can tell. So I am more of a the traditionalist. I don't go too much in the magic stuff. That's what makes it really a lot of fun. Is because, and I understand the importance. So I would never knock it because
You wouldn't.
I really wouldn't, because I absolutely understand that it's all part of the intuition. It's whatever it takes to get to that meaning.
No, I know.
And I absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
There it is. So what I'm doing is I'm actually cleaning this up some, because one of the things I like to do is actually use a reading. Because we have somebody who asked, Sardine Serena. Hey, I always find the High Priestess very hard to interpret in a reading, because it's always this, she's got a secret.
Exactly.
Part which makes it so bold, yet shallow at the same time. See, and that's why I go towards more of a traditional. What would the original person who's not even literate.
Well, but here's the
What
thing.
would they see? What would they read? How would they read this?
Well, but here's the thing that works with even in your way of reading is when the High Priestess is sometimes hard to read because she does keep those secrets. But when she is surrounded by a bunch of fiery cards, then you might go to her negative aspects, where you might be having strife or being divided or having doubt because she's got all this fire around her that cancels it.
Right, but now you are playing into their not fears, but to what they're saying.
That's all. That's what. Yeah,
but
that's what it's all about.
How would you choose to not play into that? Okay, so are you saying that no matter what it is, she's got a secret part which makes it bold? So we're talking about. But how would you teach somebody then?
Well, see, for me personally, I'm less about teaching and more about trying to tap into the person that I'm reading for's subconscious and helping them bring about messages.
But now we've got a video here and somebody's asking a question.
Sure.
So I'm challenging you.
Well, I would have to know the question and do a reading, but
not a reading. But the question is that I always find the High Priestess very hard to interpret in a reading because it's always this. She's got to say. So they're saying that they have.
I'd have to see
they have difficulty.
Yeah.
They just have difficulty with the High Priestess.
Sure, and I would have to see the cards around it. I would in the various spread in order to figure out what secret she has.
Okay.
I would need to see the other cards, and then tap into that subconscious message that she's trying to portray.
Okay, I'm not as smart as Michael.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
I'm just gonna go with I'm just gonna go with that, and saying for the simple fact that it's like, I have this card in front of me, and yes, I understand about it being nope. Get rid of that. Don't confuse me.
Don't confuse you.
I'm not that smart.
Aww.
I am.
He's humble.
So here's the deal. Then is like, okay, so I have this card in front of me.
Very smart.
I have this. I have this card, so I have it laid out in here.
Yeah.
So I have the High.
But we're not doing readings, are we?
No.
Okay.
But I'm going towards their question. Mm-hmm. About the mystery behind this card. And so the way that I teach and the way I look at it is, what does the Fool see? Okay? So the Fool comes along and he walks up and he sees this woman sitting on a dais. She's got all these clothes on. This card, she happens to be smiling. Her eyes are wide open. There's a veil behind her and he can't see behind her. And she's obviously well read and she's got this book. And so it's like, he's even going to be wondering what's behind the veil. And when she talks, she's going to be talking about the mysteries, because when we talk about religion, religion has the mysteries. And so she is looking at this person, the Fool, and the Fool's looking up and seeing this. And so when he sees this card, he sees somebody who is knowledgeable, who understands the mysteries, who there's things behind her that are veiled, and that maybe if he's able to read this book, if he learns how to read, and
if he's worthy,
then maybe not even that. Nope, because he's the Fool. He doesn't even know what it means to be worthy. He's just looking at this woman, and so
if she shares the knowledge, though.
So when I see this card, then I see knowledge. Mm-hmm. I see something hidden. I see, which are the two big things.
Yeah,
that's the mysteries.
Yeah, exactly. And even in the later decks, same thing.
How would I see that in a reading then? And I tell you, I'm just going to shuffle my card here, and I'm going to say, what is it that you need to know that's in her book?
Danger zone.
Okay. What is it that is behind the veil? So, and I'm just going to do that. So what's in her book, which is the knowledge that we can see.
We're going into a reading, Jake.
No. This is the full. Okay. So what's in the book? And I'm just doing this off the cuff.
I know.
What's in the book that we can see because the book is laid out in front of us, but what's behind the veil? So what is it that we know? So here we have time. We have the hermit. Okay. So the knowledge and the wisdom in this part right here is saying that maybe you know that you need to take the time. This is the obvious thing. So it's important that you take this knowledge from this book, take the time to do what you need to do. Okay? I'm not adding any big spooky stuff to her. I'm just saying that this is what I'm seeing. And so then what might be behind the veil in a reading?
It's not spooky.
And then what's behind the veil in the reading is strength. Okay? So this is what's hidden to us, is that there's a hidden strength that maybe we don't even know about. Okay? So it's, that's what I'm seeing right here. And I mean...
Well, let me do a reading then. Since you did one.
Okay, well, use your deck.
Okay. Let's see here.
So, but that is the answer. Let me see what you got here. So
you got a sneak reading,
which makes it bold yet shallow. I'm curious. Okay. Oh, nice. They really look kind of similar. Okay, good. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I always try to use the context of the card. Do you affiliate intuition with the High Priestess personality?
Absolutely.
It's a nice approach with the perspective of the Fool. So yes, and you use the word intuition, which the Fool has no clue what that means, right?
He's the unformed form.
Right. So that is what's behind the veil. She knows what's there, and yes, that is the intuition. She has the knowledge, and she is the guardian of what's behind the veil. And when you use the term behind the veil, if you think about it for the 1930s and the 20s, when you passed over, you went beyond the veil.
Exactly. And that's the whole...
they were in contact with information that we didn't have. So that's the purpose, to look beyond the veil.
That's the whole connection with the with that eating food of the dead. And all that other symbology is because she's able to peek behind the veil. She's able to see that other dimension between incarnations. She's able to see where the Fool came from and where he will return. It's all those secrets, those spooky things.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I don't have my deck because I thought we were not going to be doing readings.
Use whatever deck you're. Did you bring a full deck?
No.
Oh well, let me grab you a dummy deck.
Okay. A dummy deck.
Yes.
So I was under the impression that Jamie and I would be just talking and not doing readings. That's why I didn't bring my
No. That
own
was
deck.
not a reading. That was not a reading. Was it?
It was.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
You were shuffling, you were spreading cards, you were interpreting. That's a reading.
No. That was not a real reading. Now I'm getting all hot. I'm taking my...
He's breaking the rules.
I'm taking stuff off.
He's breaking the rules and getting all...
I'm taking stuff off.
Yeah,
I know.
It's getting hot in here.
Here we go.
Give me a deck, any deck.
I'm looking for the deck. I'm looking. Well, I was looking for a right away.
Oh, here's another card while
I've got 50 of them, but...
This is a deck that I just brought one card to show you. That this is from the Secret Tarot, and again you see the black
There you go.
and white pillars, and she's got the book on her lap. All the symbols are there. I can use this one?
Yep, that's the Pamela Coleman Smith Centennial deck.
All right. Let us try and... So, if I'm using... So, but you had put the High Priestess in the middle and then put two cards on the other side. So I'm trying to find the High Priestess so we can do the same thing.
Okay.
All right.
No. Find the High Priestess and then do a general reading with it.
Right.
Okay.
With
Yeah.
two cards.
Yes.
Yeah. To the other side. Exactly. That was my plan. I'm gonna try and find her here.
And that is.
We're going on the fly.
So to prop up my camera, I had another deck, and it was the deck that I was looking for before. While he's going on the fly looking for that, I will show you the Juno deck.
Oh, you
Juno
found it.
card. I did.
Yay.
It's the JJ Swiss. How could I forget that name? So,
And my camera too.
oh, yeah. JJ Swift. Okay, yes, that's the one. So, little trivia for you. If you ever watch Dark Shadows, and me and my significant other, we watched all 2,400 episodes.
Because you're crazy.
And this is the deck that they use.
Oh, is it?
It's the yes, because in 1968-69, you didn't have a whole lot of decks to choose from. And so they went to New York, this was in New York, and they went to a shop, and this was the deck that they had.
Okay.
Okay? You keep doing
Yeah,
that.
show off the Juno, and then I'll do a quick reading.
Gotcha.
I'll shuffle these up for
Okey-dokey.
new energy.
Here we go. Okay. So I'll show Michael. So here we go with Juno.
And and this is another thing that I'm gonna have in my deck. I have a peacock in my for my High Priestess, and she is going to because peacocks again. What's the message there? They've got a secret. It's in their feathers. So when they spread their feathers, that's a big secret that they're showing off.
So, and one thing I want to it's your knowledge of the tarot symbolism is on point. How many decades have you both been reading tarot? Well, I've been doing, so I picked up my first deck when I was 20 years old, so I'm not going to tell you how old I was.
And let's see, my first deck was sophomore year in high school.
Ooh.
But I'm not as old as you, so probably equals out. I think between us, we've got quite a bit of knowledge.
So here's what's interesting, is that people talk about needing to know keywords, needing to know things like that. So I already went through with what the fool sees, okay? So if I had this deck in front of me, I've used this deck for readings. I treat the symbolism on the deck as what the reading needs, because
Absolutely, every deck is different.
If I use the Rider Waite for this, or if I use the Marseille, it's like, it's not going to match what the card is trying to tell me. So the card in front of you at that time is trying to tell you something.
Absolutely.
If you pull up a different deck, and I've got 80 decks, okay, when I pull up another deck, I may not see that mystery, that veil. They may have something else there that shows a knowledge or a need to seek something.
And you get a totally different reading.
So,
yeah.
Exactly. So there is no wrong way. Go with what you feel.
Go with the gut. Go with what the High Priestess would want.
Yeah. So that is Juno. And if I pulled this up, I would see that the knowledge is in the bird. And because that bird is looking, it's got all the.
Let me cut you off. He's getting into another reading.
No. Go ahead.
He can't help himself. We both can't.
Okay.
But
so anyway, that's the JJ Swift. Go to town.
All right. So I'll do a quick little 3-card read since you did. We gotta be fair.
Do it.
All right. So here's.
Well, tell me. Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
I got 2 additional cards here.
Yep.
And
what are we seeing here?
So I've got the High Priestess right here in the middle.
Explain what each side is.
And we're going to, if I was saying, what is the secret that I'm searching for? What is the secret that is being revealed that I want the High Priestess to reveal to me, right?
Yep.
That's the question. So I would look to the past, and I'd look to the future, because she's sitting right here in the middle. So in the past, what do we have to learn? We have to learn that it's the Ace of Cups, and that at the heart of it all, at the very beginning of the Suite of Cups, which is all about intuition, it's that primal beginning. So that's the lesson. We already know that. This is in the past. We know that she is this way, that she's all about the water. It's in her dress. It's in the water, the sea of subconscious behind her. So we've got the High Priestess. This would be in the past, the Ace of Cups, right?
Oh, we have 2 cameras going. He's
sorry.
on his side. We should have explained that to people also. So he's got a camera over there. I've got my camera here, so that's why we're doing that.
We're double streaming. My channel is Offbeat Artwork.
Oh yeah.
and Jamie's is MyTarot. So if please follow us both. We both give readings during the week, and then Wednesdays we get together and usually just talk. But let me finish this reading.
Yeah.
All right. So in the future we've got the Ace of Swords reversed. Interesting. So the Ace of Swords reversed says in the future, maybe you need to. So right side up, swords are all about analytical and thinking, right? And using your mind. It's those air qualities. Reversed, it's saying use your gut. So it's to know the secrets that the High Priestess is trying to convey. Remember that she's all about the intuitive, all about the water aspects. And if you're thinking too much, turn that sword around so that you're not thinking as much and you're just going into that Zen state so that you can hear the messages of your subconscious, because that's where the High Priestess is going to reveal her secrets. So I think that worked out quite nicely, as the tarot usually does. But if the High Priestess is giving you trouble and you're not quite sure what her secrets are, that would be my advice, is to think less and use your gut more.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I also wanted to point out another interesting aspect that I forgot to mention in my deck.
In your deck.
In my deck.
In his deck.
In my deck, I've got it's the Juno's peacock.
Did you make it so I can actually see it and like critique it? Did you pull it? We talked about that.
I need to bring it. Well, I mean, you've shown it.
Not critique.
I've shown it to you before, but I need to bring cards. Next time I will. Not to show anybody here because it's top secret for now. It should be released sometime next year if I can get all the cards done. I'm over halfway there, but yeah. Anyway, what made me think of the extra thing was the peacock from the Juno deck. I've got a peacock in my deck too, and it's sitting on a locked chest. Now, a locked chest, the word for chest in Latin is arca, and the arcana is the major arcana, which is major secrets, and minor arcana, minor secrets. But it's that that hidden treasure is all locked up. Just one more symbol about how how that knowledge is hidden from view. And that actually links back to Solomon's Temple with the pillars again, because in Solomon's Temple, what were they hiding? The Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant was in the temple and in the hidden room. So that's the ark, and it comes full circle, all the things.
So, other gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay. What is the name of your channel again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Offbeat Artwork.
Offbeat Artwork.
Yep. And you can find me on Twitch at Offbeat Artwork. My website is offbeatartwork.com, where you can see some of the offbeat paintings that I do. The tech that I'm creating, though, is going to be a little bit different style than most of my paintings. It's more illustrative and digital, whereas the paintings that are on my website are traditional hand-painted ones. So and a little bit more on the whimsical side. Some of them are even blacklight reactive. I do crazy things, but yeah, but this deck is really, I've been pushing myself to do the best possible deck and weave all the symbols from the early decks that Jamie likes to the older decks that I like, and everything in between. I'm trying to have this one deck that can make everybody happy. And that's my goal.
So, It looks like we are actually coming to the end of the hour.
End of the hour. That time flies.
I know, we're having fun. No, that was awesome. I really, really enjoyed this. This was fun. So we're going to do it again next week. It's going to be at 5:30. Was 6:30 better for you or 5:30?
I think we should go with the earlier time.
Yeah, I agree, because that way we can have dinner afterwards.
Right. We don't get too hungry. And
We'll be tarot'd out, so our significant others will not have to sit there and listen to us talk about the tarot, because we will have gotten it out.
So so usually you can find the two of us 5:30 Eastern Standard Time on our various Twitch channels, and we've got a schedule on there, so it'll count down to your time zone. So if you're ever confused, just look at our info.
And I put on the schedule, I'm going to start doing, so I do tarot in the morning anyway, just as a morning meditation. So 7:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard, if anybody's interested, at MyTarot.org,
right,
which is mine, MyTarot. At MyTarot, I've got it on the schedule. I'm going to try and get myself motivated to do it at a regular time.
I'm more when the spirit moves me. So just, become a follower so that you get those notifications, and hopefully you can find me. But I sprinkle in now and then throughout the week. So if you're lucky enough to catch me at the same time, I'll be happy to do free 3-card readings, and then I also charge for my 10-card spreads. But I can go as spooky and esoteric as you want.
I'm going to go with the donation stuff for right now. It's a new channel and everything else. So
sure.
On my About, it's like, I've got a link there if anybody wants to make a donation or anything. When I was doing Facebook, it's like you can make a lot of money on Facebook, but I'm not getting the camaraderie.
The connection.
I'm not getting the connection.
Yeah.
There's 50 people saying, read me next, read me next. And I tell you, there's money to be made doing that, but it's really drudging. With Twitch, it just seems like it's a lot more fun.
You're better people, Twitch people, so thanks for watching.
So thank you all very, very much. And I'm still figuring out Twitch, so stay tuned, same bat time, same bat channel.
Right on. Same tarot time.
Same tarot time.
Same tarot tea.
Yeah, and so next week it's going to be card number 3.
Card number 3, the Empress.
The Empress.
So get ready to get creative.
So that should be interesting.
That will be a fun one. And we've got one question before we go. Yeah, sure.
Somebody's got a question on his end.
What is your question? I'm not doing any readings today, but if you've got a quick question that...
I'll do a reading for you.
We're gonna go. Can you write the answer on chat, please? Yeah, you know what? I tell you what. I don't know. I don't do so much English. Understood. Yeah. I unfortunately, I've got a setup here, and we're running out of time that I can't type in because I'm on my tablet, because I'm broadcasting virtually to Jamie's, so I can't type in my answer. But let's see. I want to know if Sergi 11 likes. Oh, okay. So your question is more of a personalized tarot reading question just for you. Unfortunately, we're not going to be giving any readings. We save these times as just talking about the tarot. But if you find me, later,
there's your answer.
if you find me or Jamie later, we'll be happy to give you.
This is somebody who's confident. Look at that. Look at how cocky this person looks. But they're also very conservative, and they're kind of looking over their shoulder.
Jamie's at it again.
I'm not sure.
He's breaking the rules.
Does he like... I'm getting a sense that maybe he's still judging. This looks very judgy. So
I'm judging you.
They're asking
for breaking our rules.
Somebody. Well, Michael can give the full reading, but I swear this looks awfully damn good.
You can't help yourself but go into reading mode. This is supposed to be just a friendly chat here.
Yeah.
You can find us later to dive into the actual readings. But
I know. You're gonna have to suffer through in the hour. Incorrigible.
You are.
I'm just rotten.
You are.
I am a horrible
We need
person.
to get you fed. It's the hunger creeping in.
Okay, so we are out of here.
On that note, yeah, it's dinner time.
All right. Thank you all so much. That was really amazing. I'll talk to y'all later.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Notice my ending soon now? Look at that.
Oh, very nice.
You can hear me still too. See how it's got the little thing? And
Yes,
it's got
yeah,
a little
you're
wavy thing,
very
a little
impressive.
flower. That's very.
Very impressive.
I know. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it off now. I just wanted to make sure that Michael saw my
Fully
little
appreciates
anything.
that. Yes.
Yes.
You're very nice, Jamie.
I am very nice.